This menu, which is for opening a chart window from the list of charts here, has quite a few selections on it, but actually you can add to it. You can make them. These are different ones. I opened two of the same type in a row, but this menu is also on the chart window itself, right here. Now, chart window has two different types, either just charts. Now I'm going to use the down arrow key since this menu is selected. I can just down arrow through the choices. So charts, or the all-in-one window, which contains the planet list and dashas along with one or two charts. I'm going to continue to hit the down arrow key. So this is another all-in-one window. Another with southern charts, another with wheel charts. Here's a chart window without the dashas and planet lists, so this is just a chart window. These are various ones that I've made. You can make them also. You can have up to 6 charts on a window, either 1, 2, 4, or 6. Now, a popular feature in GJ is the transit window. But what that really is just the window that's called transits. So if you blow away the transit window, you can remake it by taking a chart window and making it a tri-wheel, which is what this is. And I'll show you how to do that with the palette. A chart is either a northern, a southern, a wheel, or a tri-wheel, not shown here because we're on one right now. If we go to just a regular all-in-one chart window, see, and if I click on the chart here, 3 indicates tri-wheel. It's over here as well. Tri-wheel is a tri-wheel. It can have up to 3 rings. That's why it's called the tri-wheel. It's the very configurable wheel built into Jyotish Studio. So the transit window is simply a tri-wheel alone on a chart window. That's all it is. I'm going to change this back to a North Indian chart and close this window. The tri-wheel is very configurable. You can change what lines show, the colors of everything, what types of glyphs, and so forth. For example, I can go to Transit's Lavender here. Here's another one I made. It's just, again, the tri-wheel alone by itself as a chart window. And I only have 2 rings showing, but that's right here. You can select 1, 2, or 3. 2 is handy because you can have a chart on the inside and then the transits on the outside and watch the transits over the chart. You can move the transits here on this transit tab. You can literally pull this little thing, this little control, and watch them start spinning by seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. Or you can set a number here and pick what increment here and do start spin. And they will start to spin according to that increment that you selected. Well, what's the purpose of this is to watch for transits. And you can click stop spin. You can take a single jump just by clicking forward or backwards. And this control here goes forwards or backwards. This is backwards. And the other direction is forwards. There's a legend underneath it that tells you what the little lines are: seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, etc. You can also pull this down to now. The first line of the menu is now, and it'll always pop the planets right back to where they are right now, which is the most commonly wanted view of the transits. Where are they now? You can also type a date and time here, and it'll go to that when you click OK. And you can pick the city that it's working off of here. Usually it's the default city that you live in that you've set up in settings. This is a menu of recently used cities, and you can select one of them, and then it'll be the city that's used. If you click city, you can type the city in and tab, and it'll come down to here and be the city that the transits are working off of. You can, on each ring, determine various things about what shows on the ring. For example, you can have different types of representation of the planets. The planet balls on black, or glyphs or letters. Here I have glyphs and here I have letters. And the letters can be English or Sanskrit representations. Just meaning, like on Sanskrit it's Surya, Chandra, Shukra, and on English it's Sun, Moon, Venus. You can have globes on white or globes on black. The planet globes may not be familiar to everybody, but they are the planets colorized according to the planet's color, and then they have the glyph on them to remind you what they are. So this is Jupiter, this is Saturn, the Moon, K2 Mars, Lugna, L for Lugna. This is Venus, Sun, Mercury, and the outers. This is Rahu. So amongst the outers, this is Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. So as you can see, the rings can be differently colored and have different types of representations on them. On the chart tab, you can do something interesting. You can do the exact lugna of ring 2, and then the ascendant on ring 2 will be straight up all the time. So if you then spin the transits, I'm going to do 1 days. If you start spinning the transits, then that ascendant will stay straight up all the time, and everything else will move. We'll stop spin. We go back to chart, we take off the sign lines, they disappear. We can go to ring 1 and add the sign lines. They come on ring 1. We can go to ring 2 and add sandhis, which is beginning and end of houses. We can choose either the equal or Shripati house systems. This one is unequal, and it's more like the Western method, therefore. So now if we spin the transits, we'll see one has house systems, one has signs. This exact lugna of straight up feature from the chart tab is good for if you're doing real time, which is a choice under this menu down here, real time. That choice will stop the action, and it goes very slowly because it's real time, which means that it only moves as the Earth turns and things actually move. So it basically stands still, but it slowly moves. And eventually, this line will come over here and everything will move slowly around as the Earth turns during the day. It takes 4 minutes for every degree of ascendant. So it takes 4 minutes for it to even move a little bit. But real time is handy for traders, watching the sky as things trade on the stock market. I'm going to stop spin. Back on the chart tab. So that's exact lugna of. Normally, we do the rising sign of ring 1 or 2. Normally ring 1, so that the chart stays still and the transits move around it. Let's see what that looks like now. Just have to do something. So here's what it's like when the transits move around the inner ring. I have it set on 1 day, which is looking like not much movement, but it's actually where things are the next day at the same time. So the bhavas, the houses, slowly move around from day to day. Or you could say they go all of them around each day, but if you look at the same time from day to day, they seem to move a little bit. Like if we change this to 1 hour, then we'll see that they move quite a bit. Because they go around, the Earth spins around once a day, and so all the houses have to go around once a day. Because I have on the Shripati system, they're unequal, and therefore they might look a little bit out of whack. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's due to the tilt of the Earth and the city you've chosen. Portland is at about the 45th parallel, about halfway between the equator and the North Pole. It's where I live, and so the house system is unequal at this point, because if you think about an orange cut up into sections representing the 12 houses, and then you look halfway between the equator and the top, you're in a slice, a thinner part, and opposite that is going to be thinner, but in the middle between the two is going to be thicker. So that's how that works in a quick, rudimentary way. I'm going to stop spinning again. You can colorize everything here. You can change the color of lines, backgrounds, the chart itself, everything, such that, let's look at another transits. This one's called Transits 3-Ring Complex. Now, as you can see, I have colorized things differently. I have used different house systems or lines on each of the 3 rings. I have letters here, and each one is colored differently. Like Buddha is green, Surya is this color, Chandra is white, Rahu is a purple, Shukra or Venus is pink, Saturn is blue, and their degrees and retrograde markers are the same colors as the planet. You can change the color of this hub, these lines that divide the rings. You can change the color of the signs. You can change the color of everything. And you can decide what goes on each ring in terms of types of glyphs and their colors. So it's an extremely configurable chart, the tri-wheel. It's meant to be configurable, and it is very configurable. And it can spin in many different ways for you so that you can see what you're looking for.